Good morning. It is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Bradley Birzer. Dr. Berser is the Russell Amos Kirk Chair in American Studies and Professor of History at Hillsdale College, and a fellow Notre Dame grad. Go Irish! A distinguished historian of ideas and a leading voice in contemporary Catholic intellectual life, his work explores the spiritual and philosophical traditions that shaped Western civilization. His books include acclaimed studies of Russell Kirk, the Catholic historian Christopher Dawson, and the only Catholic signer of the Declaration of Independence, Charles Carroll. Dr. Birzer has also explored the Catholic imagination in literature, most notably in his work on J.R.R. Tolkien's Showing How Myth, Story, and Faith can illuminate the deepest truths about the human person and our place in the world. Beyond his academic work, he is co-founder of The Imaginative Conservative, an online journal of culture and conservatism that publishes essays on politics, history, literature, religion, education, and the arts. At a time when many question the foundations of our civilization, Dr. Birzer's work reminds us that the Catholic intellectual tradition offers a rich and profound vision of the true, the good, and the beautiful. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Birzer.
Well, good morning, everyone. This is wonderful. As someone of my generation would say, this is awesome. So thank you so much for having me. The title of my talk is called Catholicism and the Gift of Liberty, and I would like to dedicate it to my good friend, Barbara Elliott, who passed away suddenly just about a week and a half ago. During the famous and weighty 1773 Antillon First Citizen Debates of Maryland, Antillon, a Protestant by the name of Daniel Delaney, challenged First Citizen Charles Carroll of Carrollton, not for his Republican views, but rather for his faith, his profound and deeply held Roman Catholicism. Indeed, Maryland at the time, dating back to 1689, forbade a Roman Catholic from serving in politics, forbade him from appearing in a court of law, forbade him from practicing his faith openly, and forbade him from raising his children in a Catholic fashion. The only thing a Catholic could legally do was own property, and that was double taxed and subject to immediate confiscation by the colonial government. For the Protestant Delaney, Carroll could not possibly espouse the cause of English liberty and patriotism on the one hand, and Roman Catholicism on the other. This would be the equivalent of him, quote, holding one candle to St. Michael and one to the dragon. Yet it would be Charles Carroll who would have the last laugh and offer the best analysis of Catholicism's role in the history of Western civilization. Here are three critical ways in which Carroll could support both Catholicism and the history of liberty. Number one, though common law is actually rooted in the ancient and pagan Anglo-Saxon Germanic tradition, Catholic evangelists baptized it immediately upon encountering it. These laws emerged from the experience of the people and from the ground up rather than being imposed from the top down. They are, to be sure, some of the greatest safeguards against tyranny: the right to a trial by jury, the right to habeas corpus, the right to be innocent until proven guilty, all fundamental to our liberties. One of the greatest of English kings, Alfred the Great, who was not only a devout Roman Catholic, but also who witnessed an apparition of the Blessed Virgin Mary, met with his witan, that is, his parliament or his Congress, and codified the common laws of his day. Critically, he argued, as king, he had absolutely no right to create new laws, only to pass judgment with his counselors on those that he had inherited. Again, brilliantly, His kingship did not allow for the creation of new law, but only the judgment on those that he believed to be that came before him. I dared not presume to set in writing at all many of my own, King Alfred revealed, because it was unknown to me what would please those who should come after me. Truly, Catholicism, humility, and liberty go together. Number two, one can also turn to that most medieval of medieval documents, England's Magna Carta of 1215. In it, as the nobles and clergy of England restrained the renegade King John, they insisted, first and foremost, that the English, that is, the Roman Catholic Church, remain completely and utterly free from the political sphere. By this present charter, we have confirmed for us and our heirs in perpetuity that the English Church shall be free and shall have its rights undiminished and its liberties unimpaired. Further, each town, city, village, and association was to enjoy its protected rights. Further still, the rights of Englishmen applied not only to the English, but to all who entered within the borders of England. Finally, in addition to once again reminding the king that the English church was free of all political interference, it reminded its hearers that all classes of men must honor the rights of those below them. While this isn't as perfect as the universal claims of the Declaration of Independence, it is a mighty step in the right direction. Number three, though many of Catholicism's greatest achievements came through the Anglo-Saxon and English traditions, there was also the incredibly tolerant and insightful tradition of the Thomists, the early 17th century Jesuits such as Robert Bellarmine, who discussed not only natural law and hypothesized a state of nature, but who also formulated a concept of natural rights. Fighting the trends of their day, they denied the divine right of kings and the growing absolutism of monarchy. For these men, the will of the people was critical. Indeed, it was a manifestation of God's will. They also envisioned ways in which the people might resist not only unjust government, but excessive taxation. Not surprisingly, once Henry VIII in Parliament issued the 1534 Act of Supremacy, an abomination that overturned the Magna Carta and placed the king as the head of the English Church, Catholic thinkers fell out of favor in the English tradition. Still, Bellarmine especially deeply influenced one of the most radical and interesting Englishmen of the 17th century, a man by the name of Algernon Sidney. A radical Calvinist, Sidney died a martyr's death, but he also wrote the Discourses, a treatise on resistance to tyranny, going so far as to call for regicide. In sum, Sidney had Protestantized the work of the Jesuits, making them palatable, especially for an American Protestant colonial audience. While Sidney was wildly popular here in America, he was most revered by Thomas Jefferson. When Jefferson was asked in 1825 what were the sources of the Declaration of Independence, he did not hesitate. They were, he claimed, the common sense of the subject, an expression of the American mind. They were the ideas of Aristotle, Cicero, John Locke, and Algernon Sidney. Thus, in no small amount of irony, the extremely anti-Jesuitic Thomas Jefferson came to many of his most important ideas from the Thomists through a radical Calvinist. But let us return, however, to Charles Carroll of Carrollton, one of the two most prominent Catholics of the Revolutionary period, along with his cousin and best friend, Jackie, better remembered as Archbishop John Carroll. On August 2nd, 1776, Charles Carroll of Carrollton joyously signed the Declaration of Independence, noting profoundly, "When I signed the Declaration of Independence, I had in view not only our own independence from England, but the toleration of all sects professing the Christian religion and communicating to them all the great rights. Happily, this wise and salutary measure has taken for eradicating the religious feuds and persecutions of the world. I had much at heart this grand design founded on mutual charity, the basis of our holy religion. Ladies and gentlemen, far from being a religion that is dark, regressive, and superstitious, as many claimed during the Reformation, Roman Catholicism baptized common law, it professed liberty through the Magna Carta, it advanced natural law and natural rights through the Jesuits, and it helped inspire the Declaration of Independence, and it gave us a truly great American patriot, Charles Carroll of Carrollton. Far from being embarrassed, as Delaney asserted, we should celebrate all that we've given to America on our 250th anniversary. Thank you.